We got Kathy, who wants to talk about some of the difficulties that can happen with leaving religion. Kathy, how are you?
Hi, Jmike
Hi.
and Kenneth. I really like you guys. You're so
We'll give it time.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Well, you called in. I like you for calling in, so thank you. So we're on a good start.
Yeah, I'm an atheist, and I just wanted to say to some atheists who may have come out of religion and that maybe they might need to talk about something in particular, their feelings about having been indoctrinated and that bitterness that they feel, that maybe they're not talking about it enough, they're holding it inside. I would say that that's my problem anyway. And that especially if you've been through some kind of mental illness diagnosis that you've lived with and didn't consider, well, maybe that should have been brought up in therapy. And naturally, the professionals are going to hold off on bringing it up as, hey, you want to talk about that, in case it looks like they want to push in either direction of promoting it or discouraging it. And so, like, I just wanted to say that, you know, you guys who have come out and have that bitterness that you might really want to talk about it. Here I am saying this, and I've never called recovery from religion. I'm thinking maybe I ought to myself. And that's about mainly what I wanted to do, is sort of bring that up to other atheists who might. I mean, my family, we're in our 60s. I'm from a family of 8 children, and so many of them at our age are so not in reality, living in this what's really happening right now.
I don't think that's specific to your age, Kathy. I see that with my age and too and younger. I think that's just the moment we find ourselves in history.
It's so depressing. It's just so sad, and
Yeah.
so that's about it. I just wanted to suggest that they consider that maybe some of their stresses or emotional issues are due to, because, you know, that indoctrination thing, it I believe was a big part of what caused my years and years, and being diagnosed bipolar, being on medication, being a recluse for so many years when I could have been out there doing things that made a difference in the world.
Well, Kathy, let me ask you, because I'd be interested, especially someone who's, this is like kind of not foreign for me, because I talked to a lot of people about it, but from an experiential status. I guess I have two questions. One is, could you like walk me through, was the guilt, I guess, immediately detectable in that sense, like when you first left? I'm kind of curious on, because you phrase it as fear and guilt, so I'm curious on if that's just like the immediate like how that looks, right, once you make that. But more importantly, what have you done? What is it that you've done that's actually made you kind of get over the hump? Because there's a lot of people that watch the shows that might be, I don't want to say too scared or something, but they might, might not want to call in. They might not want to have their voice recognized or things like that. There's a lot of reasons. And so for any of those types of people, like, what is it that what kind of made you see the light in the way? Because that's something like I can't necessarily offer to, advice to people. And so I'd be interested in your perspective.
Well, probably just being around the right people and getting rid of those toxic relationships that, recognizing that's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So a lot of cutting off the fat, so to speak. Oh yeah, there might have been a hiccup in there, but basically I was just asking what you could provide, for people that kind of. I mean, Kenneth obviously would be able to speak to this as well, but I can't, because I didn't have that experiential kind of. I had a different set of beliefs, so kind of curious what you could offer for people that
Okay.
would.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, like you hear atheists say about, well, they're afraid of hell, so they're having a hard time breaking away. You know, this is something else along those lines when, you know, you're so wrapped up in the religion and you're looking at the truth and the difference of truth and bullshit, and that maybe you have this bitterness towards your indoctrination, that maybe you need to bring that up, express those feelings. If you're in therapy, don't forget about that part, you know.
Kathy, can I ask you, in your experience, so I find therapy to be a very valuable thing. And I didn't always feel that way. I used to be kind of like a, you know, I don't know if it's because, you know, I got kind of like this Irish thing going on where you just kind of like push your emotions down and then you just like suppress them forever and then you die, right? But I've over the years had some really, really great professionals that I've worked with, talking about all kinds of trauma and stuff that I've been through. But I'll tell you this, in my experience, I have not had any therapist who, and I'm not saying this to like, you know, say anything negative about them, but they have never zeroed in on religious trauma. That is something that I'm starting to see mental health professionals talk about. I'm wondering if, in your experience with people who've helped you, if religious trauma is something that's been talked about specifically.
No, it hasn't, and that's why I'm calling, because I really just started to consider the possibility of getting in touch with what's been talked about, recovery from religion.
Yeah.
To see if somebody there can help me.
Well, RFR is a great organization. The people who work there are tremendous. Their volunteers are great. I want to encourage you, in addition to reaching out to an organization like RFR. I found, because I was you know, a Christian for most of my life, that I want to encourage you to get plugged into the community that we have for you online, and also to look into what may be in your area. You may be shocked if you get on, like, you know, there's meetup groups, there's Facebook groups that are local where you can find people who are in your area who have more in common with you than you know. It is a very common thing, given how pervasive, you know, religious belief is in our culture. I mean, I live in the Midwest. All right, I'm just outside Kansas City. Everyone and their mom, you know, is a Christian in my neighborhood. And it's easy to feel like you're alone, and that people, you know, can't relate to what you've gone through and won't understand. But I promise you, you are not alone. There are people who want to help you and to empathize with you, and to show you that. I mean, you, earlier in the call, you talked about feeling like you've missed out on so much. Hey, look, there's still time. We've got right now, right? So you know, we're all sort of in this together in the atheist community, right? To help each other with this type of thing. A lot of people know exactly what you're going through. I guarantee.
Yes, I appreciate that, Kenneth. Yeah, I appreciate that, Kenneth. And I do have that kind of support, actually, already.
Good.
I guess I mainly, you kind of brought out what I want to say, which is, for people who have been diagnosed with mental illness, don't forget about that. Don't forget about maybe how you felt taken advantage of. And I'm not talking about sexual abuse, but just, you know, in a Catholic school where your talents are used, and then you become just so wrapped up in it. And then years later, you think about, you got this bitterness because, you know, hindsight is 20/20, of course. So I just wanted to, like you just said, how many specialists, professionals, are considering asking those questions? And I guess I just encourage them to do that.
Yeah. Well,
So,
hey,
yeah,
look,
that's it.
I think that's great advice to be
Yeah.
giving. And especially because none of us
Okay.
should feel like we have to, go through life unsupported. So yeah, I would encourage everybody who's watching or who listens to take advantage of every resource available when it comes to their mental health. Absolutely.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy.
Well,
thank
no,
you
thank you,
for
Kathy.
I'll be
You're
watching.
awesome.
Thank you for calling. Yeah, sorry for the issues at the audio at the beginning, but thank you for calling in. We definitely hear your message loud and clear.
Well, if I go back and watch it, maybe I'll get to hear what you said, Jmike.
Well, yeah, and with you with talking with Kenneth helped me kind of understand it more where you're coming from, because there was part of it that I had missed out on there, and so but no, thank you again. We really appreciate
I
it.
definitely know now that my indoctrination was a big cause of the mental illness, and that it was not addressed, and that's why I called.
Yeah.
So thanks again, guys.
It's a common experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So thank you for bringing it up. Yeah. All right. Well,
It's a very good and important last call to have.